Germany's big three premium automakers have rarely faced any significant competition in their core market of the mid-size executive saloon. That's your Audi A6s, your BMW 5 Series and your Mercedes-Benz E-Class. And people would have laughed in your face if you would ever have suggested that a Chinese brand could be part of that conversation. Well, that time is now. This is Inside China Auto, and this is the updated NIO ET7. Yes, this is the updated for 2024 NIO ET7, and what a big, beautiful beast it is. Absolutely gorgeous car. It looks every inch the executive car, very business-like, especially in this demure black color. And you know what? They make it look so good without a big crash grille here in the middle. You know who I'm talking about. All they've gone for is a simple NIO logo, and that's all you need for a good looking saloon. And you know what? NIO have realized that. That's why they haven't changed much. Got the same daytime running lights here, same headlamps, same grille down at the bottom. We get a big bonnet on this car, which would make you think that there's an engine in there. There's not. Of course, it's fully electric, but there's no frunk in there because this is a battery swap capable car, which means some of the gubbins that might otherwise be under the car in a normal electric car are hidden here in the bonnet. So there's no space in there. That's only one downside really of this car. You can see though, it is a long car, 5.1 meters long from front to back, about the same as a BMW 5 Series. Looks very low, like it's sat on its haunches. That's because we've got air suspension on this car with 50 millimeters of adjustment, so you can get really soft ride on this car. More on that later on. We've got big 21-inch alloys here with matte black inside the spokes. That looks really nice. Cameras, of course, everywhere here under the mirror on these little sawn off rhino stumps here on the top, and a LiDAR unit up there as well. They, of course, support the NOP Plus Urban Autonomous Driving System. If you want to see how this car does in urban autonomous driving here in Kunming, check out our video in the top right corner of this one. From the side, like I said, looks very much like an executive car. Big doors, pop-out door handles. Watch this. If I touch the inside of the handle, the door opens by itself. Got double glazing, front and back, which means that this car is nice and quiet inside. If you don't shut the door properly, you've got electronic soft close as well. So lots of executive features on this car. Looks every inch the executive car up to this point, but at the back it's a different story, because instead of the traditional 3-box saloon profile, we instead get more of a fastback profile, which makes this car look quite long, but also makes it look a little bit more heavy here at the back. It's probably not this car's best angle, if I'm honest with you. The front looks more lithe than it does down here. But nevertheless, we do get a ducktail spoiler on the back. You've got your NIO badge on top instead of on the rear. Big chunky haunches and a full width daytime running light all the way across the back. We do get an electronic tailgate in there. 364 litres of space in this boot. It's a usable space in that it's quite rectangular and square and does go quite deep as well, but you don't get 60/40 folding rear seats. In fact, you don't get any folding rear seats at all. Not really tall enough for big suitcases. You might get 2 of them laid in there sideways, or maybe 4 or 5 small suitcases stacked otherwise. But you do get a ski hatch, so if you want to go skiing, you can do that in this car. We also get an optional tow hook down here, so you can tow caravans and trailers with this car as well. On the design front, I would say, looks pretty stunning, but inside, it's even better. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, my first real experience of a NIO interior was the ET5 that we drove on the channel last year. And while it was a beautiful interior, with some lovely, very interesting material choices, the build quality left a little bit to be desired. So the roof lining moved way too much, there was a lot of hard plastic, and this armrest in the middle, you could literally shake off just by jiggling it backwards and forwards. And I thought, is this really what NIO is all about? I thought this was a premium car company aiming to beat the likes of Mercedes, BMW and Audi. I can tell you, this car has changed all of that. This car is absolutely wonderful. From fit and finish to materials, it's a wonderful car all over. I mean, we get lovely soft squidgy stuff on top of the dashboard and doors. We get this rattan wood inlay here, which is a kind of a renewable wood. It's a little bit coarse in some areas, which is nice because it offers some texture and depth to the interior. It's a lot better than plastic and gloss black plastic, I can tell you that. And elsewhere, most of the other surfaces are covered in what I believe is the Haptex synthetic leather. So it's an artificial leather, Ercotech certified, so it's good for sensitive skin. And all of the interior parts actually are covered in a kind of a silver material that's supposed to be antibacterial, stop mold building up in the places that you touch quite a lot. So it's a super premium interior. I do like the depth of it. I love the materials, they're very nice. The seats themselves, these are also covered in that Haptex synthetic leather on the standard version of this car. On the signature version that we have, you get Napa leather on the steering wheel and on the seats as well. Speaking of the seats, these are absolutely wonderful. 18-way adjustability, so it's really easy to get a good position. You get a lot of tilt angle adjustment and a lot of base cushion extension as well, so you get full thigh support there. Not only that, it's a really good driving position. It's actually a lot lower than in many cars that are electric cars with batteries. Often you feel like you sat quite high up in electric saloon cars. In this, not the case. You sat quite low down, you're very much part of the driving experience, and the visibility is good all the way around. These seats, by the way, the only real thing that I don't like about them is they don't really have enough side bolster. You can see it's fairly shallow, the side bolstering, so if you're kind of doing some heavy cornering, you'll find that your torso slides around a little bit. They're definitely not sport seats, but they are comfortable. And all seats in this car, all of the outer seats, front and back, come with heating, ventilation and hot stone massage as well, so you can stay definitely very, very comfortable in this car. 18-way adjustability here in the front makes everything good. As well as this, you have your driving display ahead of you there, which is kind of a 10.25 inch screen, does the usual stuff. We've also got a 16.3 inch heads-up display as well. And while that's not the biggest number in this market, you've probably heard numbers like 50 inches and 75 inches for heads-up displays. It's certainly large enough, plenty big enough to see what's going on, and it'll show your map functions on there as well. As well as that, we do of course have Nomi, our little face here on the ball in the middle. If you talk to her, she'll look at you depending on where you are sat in the car. She's now smarter than ever. She can do all kinds of things. You can ask her questions about the car, you can ask her to take you to certain places, you can ask her to be a tour guide, you can ask her questions about what's the best song to listen to, all kinds of things like that, and she can answer to all of them. I don't know enough Chinese to really give you an in-depth use of Nomi at the moment, but she can do the simple stuff as well, such as, hey Nomi,开我的窗户一点点. So I asked her to open my window a little bit, and you see, she's put it onto vent, which is really nice. Thank you very much. As well as Nomi, the very smart lady there, we have ourselves a 12.8 inch AMOLED screen here. Bit different in NIOs compared to some of their premium rivals who have massive screens all over the dashboard. They go for a smaller one in the middle here. It's bright enough, runs on the 8295 Snapdragon processor. Very good UI on this, very simple. Get ventilation stuff across the bottom. You've got a swiping menu from the side here to get easy access to your mirror adjustments and your steering wheel adjustments, 360-degree camera, all of your heated seats, ambient lighting and things like that, and of course access to the electrochromatic sunshade. So we get twin panoramic windows on the roof of this car, and apparently this is the first car that's ever been fitted with this. You can press the button, you can change the dimming of the glass, so you can make it darker or lighter, and apparently on the darkest setting it will keep out 86% of the heat from the sun, which is good because it helps to keep the cabin nice and cool in here. So it's a really good system. Also important, in China it's available in English as well, so you can get all your English menus on there. As I said, it's a quick system, runs nice and fast. You've got all your ventilation stuff, you can do pretty much everything in there, including your heated steering wheel as well that you also get on this car. All of your car menus, you can see your consumption, intelligent driving, parking and so on. So a really good system. Won't go into too much detail about what there is on there, but you do get all of your apps and stuff for music. Also, you can link to your NIO phone. So if you do have the NIO phone, it's not just Xiaomi going from phones to cars, NIO also going from cars to phones. You can connect your phone to this car. It's also quite useful in the back, but we'll talk about that when we get there. You're going to like the back, by the way, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, as well as the screen, not a lot of buttons. Our drive selector's down here, this kind of hefty knob here, kind of toggle switch, which I quite like. It does take some getting used to when you're used to changing your drive selector up here to move your hand down to there, but it's all right, and it does feel very well built. We also get a 23 speaker sound system, 2,230 watts, 7.1.4 surround sound with Dolby Atmos. So that can work in collaboration with the Ichi movie app to get the high quality sound to go with the movie that you're watching as well, which again is really, really good. We get some decent storage in the doors, big space under here. Of course, this hatch in the middle opens both ways as well. No glove box on this, so you can lock this one via the button on the screen there as well. Bit of a miss for the glove box. I mean, I do think we probably would have space there, but apparently we don't. What else is there? I mean, yeah, as I said, it's very comfortable. It's big and spacious. We've got it in grey, which isn't the most inspiring colour. There are, I believe, 4 different interior colours on this, which are really quite lovely. Some of them more lighter than this one. Of course, you get black. There's some kind of nature-inspired colours that NIO like to go with. Also about the seats, by the way, we do get these airline-style headrests that you can open out there. They're also quite good and worth talking about. I didn't mention the microfiber. We get microfiber roof lining on here as well. And yeah, I mean, overall, it's really nicely made. It feels big, it feels comfortable up here, and it's even bigger once we get in the back. Now in the back seats, the luxury is taken to a whole new level that I don't think that any other cars in this class offer. These rear seats, both outer seats, 14-way adjustability. That means that I can lift up my base cushion like this. It also means I can push out my base cushion extension as well. What that means is that even when that front seat is in the normal position, I now sit exactly as I would in a normal car. In a lot of electric cars, your feet are quite high up, so your knees are not touching the seat. This seat is fully embracing me in every dimension. As I mentioned, of course, we do get heating, ventilation, and hot stone massage in the 2 outer seats here as well. Now, another function, if I press this button on the side of my seat here, moves that front seat out of the way, and then my base cushion will slide out, giving my backrest a more shallow angle. So we've gone from 27 to 37 degrees, and now very, very comfortable seating position. We've also got the Airbus executive seats, they call them. So this is kind of the folding headrest there to hold your head in place if you want to. And of course, I can increase my tilt angle adjustment if I want to for this seating position as well. So this is amazing. Really, really comfortable rear seats. Hold down that button on the side, everything comes back to where it's supposed to be. Now, admittedly, when everything is as it is and the front seat is on the lowest setting, not a great deal of foot room down there. It's a little bit tight on your toes, but headroom absolutely fine. We're nowhere near the roof here. And of course, we have that electrochromatic roof as well. Now, as you can see, we do also have 2 screens, 14.5 inch, 2.5K screens, maybe 3K, can't remember exactly. And here we get a lot of functionality. So you can basically share things from your phone. So you can put videos onto the screen. You can change your ambient lighting in there. You can change your ventilation controls for here and the vents on the floor. You can change all your seat settings. From my side, I can move this seat, and this seat and put all the heating and ventilation on. On that side, they can do the passenger seat and the 2 rear seats as well, and basically play with all those. We also, by the way, get angle adjustment on our screen. So you'll see here, if I press this button, the screen angle changes as well. So you can move this to the angle that fits you best, depending on where your seating position is at the time. You can also control your maps in here. You can also open all your apps like your movies and TV, and also connect to your NIO phone. So if you have a NIO phone and you're in a business call, let's say you're outside the car, you're doing the business call through your phone, when you get into the car, it will automatically transfer onto the screen and use the camera at the top here, so you can continue your business meeting in the car. How cool is that? So a lot of amazing stuff going on with these 2 screens as well. You can also plug things in and share things via wired connection as well. We do get a USB-C socket down there. We get another screen down here at the bottom. This one controls our vents, can also control your heated seats and things like that. You can change your music down here, and you can change some of your seat angle adjustment by collapsing the front passenger or driver's seat as well. So another screen down there. There's your vent, by the way. That's where the air comes out of. And then check this out. This is the heftiest armrest I have ever seen. Super heavy armrest, bit of space in here. You've got twin 40-watt vented wireless chargers, so 2 in the back, 1 in the front. You've also got here your cup holders that pop out the front as well. Nice and sturdy, big solid piece of hunky metal of material this. And then here you get your ski hatch into the boot as well, if you do have skis and you want to put long loads through there. And for the 5th passenger, you get a headrest that pops out there as well. So it's really, really cool. These back seats, both absolutely amazing. Of course, you get your sound system, lovely ambient light in the doors there. And yeah, it's just crazy comfortable, super comfortable. Of course, these don't fold flat. You do get Isofix mountings, but they are underneath this Velcro pad. And that means it's time to find out how easy it is to get a car seat into the back of the NIO ET7. Okay, so based on the fact that we've got this Velcro flap here, I'm not anticipating this being the easiest task in the world. I'm going to fold it up there, try and make it a little bit easier for us to get our mountings in. Now, getting the seat in itself isn't the most difficult thing in the world. The screens make it a little bit more treacherous, but overall the door is pretty big. And then you got to try and get these seats in like this. There you go. So I've managed to do that. Okay, so actually it's not so difficult, but what you need to do is make sure you fold that flap up to the top. Makes it a lot easier to get your seat in here. Certainly the passenger seats, better made for passengers, less so for parents trying to get baby seats in the back. Now NIO hasn't just focused on the interior comfort of this car, they've also focused on the engineering that makes it a very comfortable ride at the same time. Some pretty impressive stuff on this car. I did mention already that we've got air suspension and continuous damping control. We've also got 5-link suspension on the front and multi-link suspension on the rear. That air suspension is really quite good. One of the things that is actually included as part of the package is something called 4D comfort navigation. So the car uses information from all of the NIO cars that are driving around to work out where there are roads with persistent potholes or undulating surfaces. And when it takes you to that area, if it's one of the areas mapped by the 4D comfort navigation, it will change the suspension settings to the highest mode to make them as soft as possible. This car also comes with an executive mode, which means that if you have passengers in the back that you want to give them a more comfortable ride, maybe business passengers or even just your family, you can actually select that in the system and the car will be even softer on the rear axle than it would otherwise to prioritize the ride comfort for passengers in the back, which is really nice. And I would say that NIO has definitely focused on the comfort side of things. In terms of sporty driving, I would not say this is the most engaging car. It's fast, and I'll come on to that in a minute, but it's not exactly really engaging sporty wise. Once you put it into Sport Plus, the steering gets a bit heavier, the suspension gets heavier, but you do find that it doesn't really corner or feel like a BMW. The steering still feels soft. They've definitely gone more for the Mercedes-Benz comfort option as opposed to the driving enjoyment of a BMW. I think their sporty car is the ET5. Now, talking about the sport mode, let me just pop it into Sport Plus. We've got an empty road around us here. I'm going to show you how brutal the acceleration is on this car. So we're doing 10 kilometers per hour now, and you get absolutely launched into the back of your seat. It honestly feels so much more brutal on this car than on other cars that actually are supposed to do the 0 to 100 kilometer per hour sprint faster than this one. It feels super aggressive. Your nose lifts up, the back goes down, you really get shoved into your chair like nothing else, and it scrabbles around. It's quite exciting, to be honest. It's dynamic. It's kind of, that's an exciting, engaging part of the driving experience. I wouldn't say it feels like it's all kind of, you know, all held in one area and it's got really good traction. Certainly if you push this car on, it will prefer understeer to oversteer. Of course, if you go to some sharper corners, stick your foot down, you can get the back end out a little bit, but you do need some kind of more wetter surfaces for that. The traction control isn't too intrusive on this car, but it is bloody fast. As I said, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.8 seconds. All versions of this car come with the same drivetrain, which is a 480 kilowatt drivetrain, 180 on the front, 300 kilowatts on the back, 850 Newton meters in total. It's nearly 700 horsepower, so it's brutally quick, and it certainly feels so. It allows you to move pretty briskly, and if you do happen to have the luxury of driving on the Autobahn every day, I think you'll appreciate that, to be honest. You'll appreciate the speed and the overtaking ability and the speed of nipping around town a lot of the time. So yeah, it's a super fast car, not exactly sporty, certainly erring more on the side of comfort. Now in terms of batteries, it's a NIO, so it's a battery swapping car. Comes with 3 options, 75, 100, and now the new semi-solid state 150 kilowatt hour battery. The smaller battery, 75 kilowatt hours, will do 550 kilometers of range on CLTC. The 100 kilowatt hour battery will do 705 kilometers of range on CLTC, and the new semi-solid state battery, which I'm not 100% certain is in full production just yet, that one can do over 1,000 kilometers of range on CLTC, and it was proven to be able to do so by NIO CEO Lee Bin, who in a live stream managed to go from 100% to 3% and do 1,044 kilometers of range, which is very impressive. I have to say, I haven't quite achieved those figures myself today. I did a battery swap this morning, and I'll talk about that in a moment. I did a battery swap this morning, was at 93%. That's what they give it to you at from the battery swap station. and the mileage shown here, CLTC mileage, based on what we've got here, the reality mileage was about 67%. So actually quite a bit lower than you would expect. Admittedly, started the day off with a highway drive down here to the lake, and here we've been generally doing probably about 70 kilometers per hour most of the time, a lot of it up and down hills. Again, not the most impressive 67, I would say. Again, in theory it should do about 75 to 80%. Obviously NIO managed to achieve much more on their kind of hyper-miling drive with the CEO. But yeah, that was my real world experience with the mileage, and I've been on comfort mode all day. I haven't been thrashing it on sport mode at all. So that's the real world mileage. The battery swapping, as I said, today was my first ever experience of doing battery swapping. I've seen people do it, I've never done it myself. The easiest thing in the world to do. You go into your maps, you click on the little lightning icon. It tells you, do you want to search for charging stations or swap stations? You select swap stations, pick the nearest one, it guides you there, and the NOP Plus, which I'll talk about in a moment, can do that for you. It drives you there. You drive into the gate, it says, do you want to book your battery? You say yes, okay. You park up, and then the car starts and it reverses itself in. You wait for 3 to 5 minutes, battery comes out, new one comes in, and you drive out. And it's honestly as simple as that. And I only realized this morning that I needed some battery quickly, and I wanted to get out early for filming. It was such a useful thing to have. The jury's still out on whether it's going to be the future of battery charging, or if charging is going to get fast enough to not really need battery swapping in the future. I can say I think it's definitely got a place in the market, and the convenience factor cannot be understated. It's absolutely marvelous. It does save you the money because you can do the battery swapping. Instead of paying for the battery, you can pay a monthly fee, which includes a certain amount of battery swaps. So that starts at 728 RMB for the smaller battery. I think it's 1,128 for the larger battery, and then there's no price as of yet for the 150 kilowatt hour battery. But yeah, I can see why some people would love it. Definitely, it's been really useful for me so far, and so incredibly convenient and easy to do that even someone who's never done it before could do it no problem. In terms of that autonomous driving system, NOP Plus, I will have a full video of that, which I mentioned in the top right corner of the screen, where you can see exactly how well it did around here in Kunming on the roads. On the highway, I would say it's very, very accomplished, pretty good. In general, I would say it does a lot of unnecessary lane changes. It does some lane changes that it kind of doesn't really commit to and then backs out of. It sometimes changes lane, does it, and then decides it was happy in the first lane. It's a pretty good system overall. It is actually quite impressive, but it's not quite there yet. There's still some work to do, but you can see in the full video exactly how it did overall. That, by the way, you do have to pay a monthly fee for. NIO like to give you the subscription fee stuff as opposed to buying stuff outright. And you know, for a Li Auto, for example, you get all of your highway driving, your urban autonomous driving for free. You have to pay for it every month with a NIO. So yeah, you'll have to decide whether you like it or not. Of course, if you pay monthly, you can try it. If you don't like it, we take it off. Simple as that. In terms of prices, there are only two options for this. The base, or the standard version, let's say, 428,000 RMB. If you go for the signature version, which we have, which comes with the screens in the back and a few other gubbins all included, that's 458,000 RMB. I'll give you the currency translations at the bottom of the screen. Of course, they're Chinese prices. It will likely cost different in Europe, but certainly in China, it is a very compelling proposition compared to the German premium brands in Europe. I suspect it's probably pretty good as well. And I can only tell you, if you get this updated executive version in Europe and you're still skeptical about Chinese cars, whether they can do luxury or premium, go and try one. Go and try one, and then come back and tell me what you think. So yeah, overall, it's a very comfortable driving experience, super refined, really quiet in here. We've got 95% of the underbody has soundproofing on it, which prevents a lot of road noise getting in, even on loud concrete roads with coarse surfaces. You've got double glazing all round, so it's really quiet inside here. As I said, comfort levels are off the charts. It's absolutely a lovely car to drive. And yeah, I mean, I can't recommend it highly enough. If comfort is your thing, this car's got you covered. So that's it for our review of the NIO ET7. This is a truly fantastic car and is finally the car the ET7 should have been when it first came out. It not only defines what NIO is and wants to be as a brand in a single car, but it redefines luxury in this segment. There's nothing from the German brands that can compete with the luxury, the comfort and the technology inside this car. And whether or not it's going to challenge the Germans on sales in Europe, probably not going to happen right now, but it doesn't matter. The Germans still need to be worried because this is the new bar that they need to reach if they want to continue being successful in the premium market, especially here in China. And you know what, with the upcoming ET9, if NIO can get all of this and a little bit more into that car, even the fabled Maybach is going to be very, very concerned for its title. Thank you very much for watching. If you do, thank you for subscribing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up so more people can see the amazing cars coming out of China. And as ever, we'll catch you next time.